Imagine tomorrow morning, you walk into your office, look your boss in the eye, and say, "I'm done." You walk out. No more Slack notifications, no more 9 to 5, no more checking in. Now, ask yourself the most terrifying question in modern America. How many months can you survive before your world collapses? If your answer is less than 3 months, you aren't an achiever. You're a high-functioning prisoner in a very comfortable cell. You've been told that a six-figure salary is the finish line. But look around. You're making more money than your parents ever dreamed of, yet you're more fragile than they ever were. You're trading 40, 50, 60 hours of your life every single week just to keep the lights on in a house you barely spend time in. This is the salary trap. It's not a financial mistake. It's a lifestyle addiction designed by a system that needs you to stay scared. Because a person with a year of savings is a threat, they can say no. But a person with 3 weeks of savings? They're predictable. They're controllable. They're the perfect engine for a consumer economy that feeds on your time and spits out debt. You think you're building wealth, but you're actually just upgrading your handcuffs. Today, we're going to look at the math they didn't teach you in college, the secret reason you're still broke despite that raise, and how to finally buy back the only thing that actually matters, your freedom. Let's play a game of Where Did My Money Go? Meet the average American professional. Let's call him Six-Figure Steve. Steve just landed a job making $100,000 a year. In most of the world, that's a king's ransom. In America, it's a mathematical trap. Before Steve even sees his first dime, Uncle Sam steps in. Federal income tax, Social Security, Medicare, and state taxes. Depending on where Steve lives, be it California or New York, his $8,300 monthly paycheck just got a haircut. He's now looking at roughly $6,200. That's 30% of his life, gone before the coffee in his mug even gets cold. Now, Steve needs a place to live. In any decent U.S. metro area, a one-bedroom apartment is going to eat $2,000 to $2,500. Add in utilities, high-speed internet because he needs to work from home, and trash pickup. Steve is now down to $3,500. But wait, this is America. You can't survive without wheels. Steve's car payment for that mid-sized SUV is $600. Insurance? $200. Gas? $150. Maintenance? $50. Steve just spent $1,000 just to have the privilege of driving to the office to earn the money to pay for the car. Then comes the death by 1,000 subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, gym memberships he uses twice a month, and that $8 daily latte habit that everyone tells him to quit, but he won't, because it's the only joy in his 9-to-5 grind. Add in groceries, which thanks to transitory inflation now cost 40% more than they did 3 years ago, and a couple of nights out at a mediocre bar. Steve just spent another $1,200. Current balance, $1,300. Now, let's look at the American special, debt. Steve has $40,000 in student loans and $5,000 in credit card debt because he needed a vacation to Hawaii to escape his burnout. The minimum payments and interest eat another $800. Steve is left with $500 for the entire month. That's $16 a day. One flat tire, one unexpected root canal, or one vet bill for his golden retriever, and Steve is officially in the red. Do you see the math? Steve is earning $100,000, but he is living on the edge of a cliff. The system has calculated exactly how much comfort to give you so you don't quit, but exactly how little capital to leave you so you can't escape. This isn't an accident. It's an algorithm. The banks want you in debt. The corporations want you as a consumer. And the government wants you as a taxpayer. None of them want you as an owner. Because owners don't need jobs. Owners have optionality. Steve thinks he's moving up because his salary went from $80,000 to $100,000. But his expenses went from $75,000 to $99,000. He's not getting richer, he's just running on a more expensive treadmill. You've been told the American dream is a ladder. Work hard, climb up, buy a house, retire happy. But what if I told you the ladder is actually a treadmill, and the person who sold it to you is also the one charging you for the electricity to run it? To understand why you're broke, you have to stop looking at your bank statement and start looking at the architecture of submission. Let's talk about the great American magic trick, the credit score. We are the only society on earth that judges a person's financial health by how well they can manage debt, not by how much money they actually have. Think about it. You can have $1 million in the bank, but if you don't play the debt game, your score drops. Why? Because a person with cash is useless to the system. The system needs you to be a revolving door of interest. They've gamified your survival. They give you points, miles, and cashback like you're playing a video game, while they harvest 24% APR on your balance. They don't want you to pay it off. They want you to stay in the sweet spot, just enough debt to keep you working, but not enough to make you file for bankruptcy. Then there's the psychological warfare. In the 1920s, a man named Edward Bernays, the father of propaganda, realized that if you link a person's identity to their purchases, they will buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't like. Modern marketing in the US isn't about selling products, it's about selling solutions to the insecurities they created. You feel burnt out? Buy a luxury SUV with off-road capability you'll never use. You feel lonely? Subscribe to 5 different streaming platforms. You feel inadequate? Get the newest iPhone. The system keeps you in a state of planned obsolescence where your car, your phone, and even your self-esteem have an expiration date. But the most insidious part of the design? The golden handcuffs. Corporations know that if they give you just enough salary to buy a mortgage in a good school district and a car with a $700 monthly payment, you are theirs for the next 30 years. You can't quit that toxic job. You can't start that business you've been dreaming about. You can't even take a 3-month sabbatical to find yourself. Why? Because you've collateralized your future for a lifestyle you're too tired to enjoy. You aren't working for a paycheck anymore. You're working to service the obligation of your past choices. You are a guaranteed revenue stream for Wall Street. Your mortgage is their asset. Your car loan is their dividend. Your student loan is their safety net. This is the salary trap 2.0. The old trap was about low wages. The new trap is about high expenses. It's more effective because it feels like freedom. You chose the house. You chose the car. You chose the lifestyle. But when every choice you make is engineered to keep you dependent on a bi-weekly deposit, is it really a choice? The system doesn't hate you. It just views you as a battery. It needs your energy, your focus, and your 40 years of prime adulthood to keep the engine turning. It wants you house poor, car rich, and time bankrupt. Because a person with time is dangerous. A person with time starts asking questions. A person with time realizes that the only thing more valuable than a 6-figure salary is the power to walk away from it. The system is working perfectly. The question is, whose side are you on? Because you can either be the fuel for their machine, or you can start building your own. Close your eyes for a second and fast forward. It's 25 years from now. You're sitting in the same office, or maybe a slightly nicer one. Your back aches a little more, your hair is thinner, and your golden years are finally here. You look at your bank account, it's fine. You've got the 401k, the equity in the house, the social security check waiting. You've played the game exactly how they told you to. But then, you look at the calendar, and you realize the most expensive thing you ever bought wasn't the house or the German SUV. It was the illusion of later. You spent your 20s chasing the entry-level dream, your 30s servicing the mortgage dream, your 40s maintaining the status dream, and now, you're rich in things, but bankrupt in memories. You traded your peak physical health, your children's childhoods, and your creative spark for a 3% annual raise and a senior title. This is the regret mirror. It shows you that the security you fought for was actually just a long-term lease on your soul. You were so busy paying off the system that you forgot to invest in your own autonomy. The system's biggest lie is that you have time. It wants you to believe that retirement is the reward for a life of obedience. But freedom at 65 isn't the same as freedom at 35. You can't hike the Swiss Alps with a walker. You can't build a business with 10% of your energy left. Every day you stay in the salary trap without an exit plan, you're not just spending money, you're spending the only currency that isn't being printed by the Federal Reserve, your finite seconds on this planet. In the US, we're obsessed with standard of living, but we've completely ignored the quality of life. You've been a spectator in your own journey, watching your life through a spreadsheet. But the mirror is still clear for you today. You still have the power to break the glass. Because the tragedy isn't that life is short. The tragedy is that we wait so long to begin it. It's time to stop being a revenue stream for someone else's empire. It's time to stop working for the weekend and start working for the exit. Enough with the why. Let's talk about the how. You can't dismantle the system overnight, but you can build an escape tunnel right under its nose. Breaking the salary trap isn't about earning millions. It's about decoupling your survival from your next paycheck. Here is your 3-step tactical blueprint. First, you must weaponize the gap. In the US, we are trained to expand our lifestyle to fit our income. Stop. You need to live like you're still on your first job's salary while you're making your third job's money. This isn't about skipping lattes, it's about fixed cost fixation. Keep your rent/mortgage and car payments under 25% of your take-home pay. If you're house poor, you're already defeated. The bigger the gap between what you earn and what you spend, the faster you buy your freedom. Step 2. Build your optionality. Most people call it an emergency fund. I call it the FU fund. In America, the system's power over you is exactly equal to your debt. When you have zero savings, you have zero leverage. But when you have 6 to 12 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield account, the psychological shift is tectonic. You stop acting out of fear. You start negotiating from strength. You don't need to quit today, but knowing that you could walk away tomorrow changes how you show up at work. It turns you from a servant into a consultant. Finally, stop buying stuff and start buying assets. Every dollar you invest in low-cost index funds, dividend stocks, or a scalable side hustle is a digital soldier working for you while you sleep. The goal is to reach the crossover point where your assets generate enough cash flow to cover your basic needs. That is the only true definition of wealth. Not a Rolex, not a Tesla, but the ability to wake up and ask, what do I want to do today, instead of what do I have to do today? The salary trap is a choice. Every time you choose a bigger liability over a new asset, you're signing a fresh lease on your cell. But today, you saw the bars. You saw the lock. And now, you have the key. Start small. Build the gap. Buy back your time. Because the best investment you will ever make isn't in a stock or a house, it's in your own autonomy. Stay sharp. Stay free. I'm Sky, and this is Sky Invests. Subscribe if you're ready to stop being a revenue stream and start being an owner. I'll see you in the next one.